Hi, welcome. So Darren, thank you very much for joining me. Darren, this is Darren Onajekwe, who we're just going to call Darren because his surname is really too difficult. And you and I met in the gym, actually, because you used to train gymnastics. Calisthenics.
Strength training. Yeah, right.
Gymnastic strength training. And I used to turn up and pretend well, I used to try and do it. I'm a lot better now, but oh my God, that was like right at the beginning and I couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And it was so helpful and I'm so grateful. Thank you for joining us, because the reason I reached out to you is I remembered that you were vegetarian and I hoped that you were plant-based. So can you tell me, I wasn't really sure. I was kind of like,
yeah,
but you're so strong. The thing about you is that you're so incredibly strong. And I love how that just destroys myths about plant-based food, you know?
Yeah.
So can you talk to me about your journey in terms of vegetarian and plant-based and all of that?
Yeah, of course. So, I'd just like to echo what you said. Thank you for having me on here. It's a pleasure to be part of this. So if I go back to the beginning, so I think probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I used to eat what you call, a normal diet. So everything under the food spectrum, whether that's meat, poultry. I've never eaten fish because I just don't like it. But I did used to eat seafood. Now, I remember I just got to a point whereby I wasn't enjoying my meals because I couldn't kind of almost like detach what I was eating from what it used to be. And it just made me feel a little uncomfortable. So I decided just one day, literally like that, I just said, I'm going to try and go vegetarian for now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I thought I'd go pescatarian because although I didn't eat fish, I did eat seafood every now and then. So
you mean like what do you mean
like
by seafood?
Like prawns. That's the only real thing I can kind of think of actually. I've never liked fish, so I didn't want to I was going to just start eating it just for the sake of it. But that didn't last very long because in terms of eating seafood, I just decided probably after a month or so, I decided to cut the seafood out as well and just kind of go vegetarian. Now, I guess to give that kind of some context, I used to be the kind of person who would probably eat chicken at least twice a day, like kind of lunchtime and dinner or something like that. And, I remember my wife at the time saying like, there's no way that you could go vegetarian just because of like, obviously how I used to eat. But I think once I kind of set my mind to something, I'm quite determined to kind of see it through. Although saying that, I didn't actually set any kind of intentions or expectations on what this was. It was more I was viewing it as having a break from eating like animals, essentially.
But I think that's the better way. I think that when you set up this big goal, or I'm never going to do this again, or I'm going to give up smoking, or I'm going to never, those are the ways you fail. I think that this just one day at a time thing is the biggest difference in the world.
100%. I agree. So, I mean, you're instantly not putting the pressure on yourself because I guess with that pressure becomes, it sets you up, not for failure, but there's if you were to revert for whatever reason, you feel like you failed. I guess if you look at veganuary as a example, obviously you've got that whole month, and if people don't maybe achieve that entire month, they might feel like they didn't accomplish something or fail. I mean, it is. I don't think that's right. It's a mindset because even if you only achieved 7 days, that's 7 days.
I think it's a big deal.
You would have done before. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always saying do even 1 day a week. As long as you do some, because it leads up, and then 2 days and more.
Yeah, exactly. So my break basically turned into kind of like 5-6 years, and I've never in that period had any kind of cravings for for meat. And I know that's probably wouldn't be the case for everyone. but for whatever reason, which I can't really put my finger on it, I just didn't have cravings. And I guess actually, if you kind of analyze it, it's probably because I felt that the diet I was eating was well balanced enough. I was getting enough variety out of a vegetarian diet that I didn't feel like I was missing anything from.
Which is a really good segue into what the hell was that you did?
Yeah, so I would eat like anything you could think of that you would eat as a, you know, I've never really known normal eating or meat eater. I don't know how you want to term it, but so lasagna, burgers, pizzas, pasta, obviously, you know, kind of like goodness bowls or salads, chilies, curries, Thai food, anything that, you know, any food that anyone else would eat, I would eat. It'd just be a vegetarian version
of it, yeah.
Yes, and so I remember one of the first times that I went out for a curry with my friends, so my school friends, and I hadn't been vegetarian that long, and they were kind of, you know, joking around saying, "Oh, you know, what are you going to eat?" And so obviously I got, I don't know, a vegetable jalfrezi or whatever it was. And if you think about it, what you enjoy about, say, Indian food is the spices, the herbs and spices and stuff. It's not necessarily the meat. And obviously I understand the meat, it gives it some texture, and that's what people enjoy that when they're eating. But obviously you can, you still get the same flavors without the meat, and obviously you can have some form of substitute in the curry to give it a bit more kind of texture and to satisfy that kind of need as well.
So did you wait, okay, so then you get your head round basically people taking the piss, and kind of working your way around that. Had you at that stage worked out and done all the strength training? Were you still doing that at that stage?
Yeah, so I've always been like relatively active, probably, I mean, more so than the average person, whether it's kind of sports or bodyweight training or running, whatever it may be. And yeah, there was absolutely no change to the way I trained from when I was eating meat and from going vegetarian. And we can get onto that in a bit, but it's I'd say I'm probably training even more now, and I'm now fully plant-based. So I guess we can kind of talk about that more.
Yeah. Did it affect your marriage? Did your wife still eat meat?
Oh, well, so funny enough, she decided to do it with me. So when I said that, after she told me that she didn't think I'd be able to do it, she then said, "Oh, you know what? I'll do it with you as well." Even though what doing that was, there was no kind of timetable or expectation. She just said, "Oh, well, I'll eat vegetarian as well." And she's actually plant-based now as well. So.
That's cool, because a lot of people do say that. I get a lot of people saying, well, what do I do about the fact that I have my sons eat meat? Or because like my son actually does eat meat. And I've kind of just thought, you know, it is what it is. I don't really think about it. So I'm like, you should do, but then they've got to prepare it. And I think that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it makes it easier if you know, in my situation, I just had my partner in my house. So if we were both eating that way, it makes it easier. But yeah, as you said, I think even if that's not the case, you've just got to kind of find your way and make it work. And I guess it kind of depends on some people who go plant-based don't want to kind of handle meat or cook it, and whereas others are happy to do that, they just don't want to eat it. So, you know, like for me, for example, I have no problems with, it's not quite the same, but I can sit down and have a meal with someone who's eating meat. It doesn't bother me. I don't know how I'd feel about, I probably wouldn't want to cook it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm like,
yeah,
I
no.
don't like that. So when you're now, so how did you evolve from that to plant-based? How did that happen? Because, you know,
So,
burgers, pizzas, all of that, that's a lot of cheese. And with
yeah.
cheese, there's a lot of fat, which actually
Yeah.
is a really good way to transition
Mm.
from, because the thing that you miss going from meat to plant-based is fat. Meat actually has a lot of fat, and that fat keeps you full, and it makes you feel good, and it makes food taste better because you have fat in your mouth when you've eaten, and that carries flavor. So when you give up cheese, that's quite hard.
Yeah. Well, so what happened was, so going vegetarian was never a kind of like a stepping stone to going vegan.
No.
It was, as I said, it was just something that I wanted to do, and I felt comfortable for a long time. I felt very comfortable just being vegetarian. Then in last year, 2019, it was quite a challenging year. I had a lot kind of personally going on, and I ended up moving houses, and my friends that I now live with, they're all vegan. So I moved into we joke and call it the house of vegan. But my friends who I live with are Bosch, who are the TV.
Oh,
chef,
I see. Got
chef.
it.
Yeah, so we live together. So it just kind of I felt no pressure to be coming here to turn plant-based, but it just felt right. It just felt like the right time for me to make that transition. So I just thought, okay, well, again, it was a case of let's see how this goes. I'm not saying right now like that I'm plant-based, and I kind of kept it quiet-ish for maybe, the first kind of couple of weeks, because again, obviously, as you know, I'm quite active on social media, and you don't sometimes, if you put stuff out there and you start putting a label on yourself, then you kind of feel the pressure to live up to
well,
that.
and being vegan, plant-based, I mean, there's a reason somebody invented the phrase plant-based, because vegans got such a bad rap.
Yeah.
Every single meme about a vegan is somebody who smells funny, looks funny, is weird, and is militant, right?
Yeah. So, but after the first couple of weeks, well, not even a couple, to be honest, after the first week or so, I knew that this was, it was something that I wanted to continue doing.
Oh,
and
hooray.
I guess when you going from vegetarian to plant-based, obviously, like you said, it's the fats, it's the cheese. So like you said, the pizzas and burgers. Obviously, I have cheese on there, and I use milk as well. So although I would always buy, even when I was vegetarian, I'd always buy milk alternatives, so almond milk or oat milk. I love ice cream, so and milkshakes. So typically when you're out and you buy ice cream or milkshakes, they are, from a cow. It's the milk from a cow. So yeah, I was a little concerned about how I would be able to get, satisfy my craving for those foods. But fortunately, there's so many options now that there's just, Ben and Jerry's do vegan ice cream.
Yeah, I know. I have a fridge full of them for the kids. They love it.
Yeah.
But one of the other options that, in fact, I was going to do a Facebook Live on it, is literally freeze bananas and blend them.
Yeah.
And then anything you do to that, just, oh my God, I was looking at my bananas today going, can I make this? Can I make this? Because it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
Yeah. Yes, I've done it. Yeah. Really nice. So.
It's one of the bonuses of being plant-based. You discover this thing and you think, wow, no one told me. Okay, let's talk about, so that's true though, because that is a thing where if you have certain foods that you really like and you identify with, and those are your kind of treats, for them to go away, it is a question of prepping and understanding, well, I can't eat that, but I can eat this. So a bit of research kind of takes you quite far with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the having kind of education, knowledge, and awareness of different ways, I guess, of cooking food and alternatives, so that, because people think that when you're plant-based or vegan, that all you're eating is rabbit food. That's what
green
people
leaves.
say to you. Yes, what are you eating? And which is why I'm very keen to show on my social media the types of food that I'm eating, because it just to bring more awareness to people that I'm eating exactly the same food as a non-plant-based person is. It just happens that it is plant-based. So and I guess
how did it feel with your training? Because that's a big, I did a YouTube video on game changers. I did a review, and I was really interested because I sent it out to my database at Nosh Detox, and I had people write back in going, oh my God, how can you peddle this rubbish? And it's all been debunked and none of it is true because it's the strongest man and this and this. And I'm like, mate, can we look at Darren? And so part of what I posted your video was tongue in cheek, but the other part is you're strong as hell. You can't do what you do and not be strong. And you're plant-based.
Yeah. So, well, as I said, well, actually, just quickly touching on the game changers, and you said that obviously people commented and said it's been debunked. I'm not sure if they realised that the debunking got debunked. I don't know.
No, I don't think they realised that.
Yeah, so obviously it was debunked on the Joe Rogan podcast. And then what they done was they brought in, is it Simon Wilk, who's the guy who done Game Changers? Yeah, they brought him onto the Joe Rogan show with the guy who debunked it, and he went through every single claim or debunking that he made and proved him wrong. So the problem is that the debunking will get more attention than the debunking of the debunking. It's almost like the harm has already been done. But so people should go and check that out if that's.
So before that's really good. So before we go any further, there is a movie, in case anyone missed it because they were under a rock, called Game Changers, which is a video about a man who was an athlete who, and in fact, go and watch my YouTube. Go to the Nosh Detox YouTube channel and watch my review, and it's called Game Changers. That will tell you all about it. But anyway, there we go.
It's a good watch. So my training, as I said or alluded to earlier, I would say I'm at my strongest, fittest, and kind of like healthiest version of me I'm 37 now, and as you know, I train in calisthenics and gymnastic strength training. I also I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and I compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments, and I run. So more just kind of like to get headspace. Like I do anything from 5K up to kind of half marathon distances. And in the time
I hate running so much.
I enjoy it. I mean, recently I've been sticking to shorter distances, but over the last several years, so since I've been plant-based vegetarian, I've run, I don't know, probably close to 10 half marathons and the London Marathon, like full marathon as well. So I think that speaks for itself. You know, the fact that I probably, without sounding kind of arrogant, I would say that I am one of, like, if you look at my kind of circle of friends, I'm definitely up in that upper tier of when it comes to kind of strength and fitness. And I'm not the kind of person, I don't track, you know, kind of like macronutrients and stuff. The way I view it is it's kind of more of a kind of common sense approach. So I make sure that I'm having like a well balanced diet the way I do that is I look kind of almost like over the week rather than kind of on a day, because I might have a day where you know, I want to go and eat burgers and pizzas, but more times than not I'm eating something that is healthy. You know, is healthy, and that's my approach to kind of diet, because nutrition isn't my thing. You know, I'm not a nutritionist, but to me, kind of common sense is almost like the best way to approach it. I see a lot of people you know, doing fads and diets and etc. And I just feel that they're almost overcomplicating it for themselves. I believe that kind of small, sustainable changes to the way that you eat,
Yes,
will then lead to adapting like behaviors, which then becomes a lifestyle. And then also, as you said, the chat that we wanted to have today is about kind of why people might fail at a plant-based diet, and one of the kind of the reasons for that is I believe people go from one extreme to another.
yeah,
and it's a big jump. You can't, if you've gone from eating meat one day and then you're going to go plant-based the next. That's a lot, and
well, it's a lot because your habits and your house and your fridge and nothing is sustaining that. And the thing that actually sustains us in these changes is that you set up, it's literally like moving to a new country. You're just like, I don't know anyone. I don't know where to buy food. I don't know where to put petrol in a car. I don't know where to go to the bookshop. I don't know what to anything. Funny, nobody goes to bookshops anymore, but but it's that's how severe that change is, to go from one level to another. And you should never, ever do that. Small changes are the best.
Yes, definitely. And which is actually you can apply that to, I guess, most things, even like training, for example, is, someone going from doing no training, you wouldn't go and start training every day.
Well, they would, and then after 4 days, they never go back again. That would be those gym memberships finish on the 4th of January.
Correct. So it's definitely small sustainable changes. We're trying to change behavior, and rather than just restricting yourself and what's the word? Can't think of the word. But restricting yourself for a certain period, and feeling unhappy about that, and
depriving.
Because you've gone from that one extreme to another. I always say to people, like, if this is the extent of my nutrition advice, is that if you're looking at your shopping, and I don't know, say you brought like several chocolate bars in your shopping, maybe 1 week what you do is you take out one of those chocolate bars so that you've only got 6, and then maybe the following week, or maybe 2 weeks later, once you're kind of comfortable with you only need 6 now, you take out another one and you get down to 5, until you get to the point where actually I'm having chocolate as a treat now, rather than it being an everyday like snack, so
we call that crowding out. So what you do is you slowly crowd out the bad food, and the food you want to change, good or bad, don't judge it, just crowd it out. So before we go, walk me through what a few days of training look like for you. For example, how many hours would you do in a day? And how would you vary it? Where, we're at the end of this week, roughly walk me through what you did this week.
Okay.
Because it's really important for people to understand that I know you do shitloads. You said you do a lot, but I don't think people get it. So I just want you to run me through it.
Yeah. Okay. So if I talk you through a typical week, probably for me. So on a Monday, I do jiu-jitsu at 7 a.m. So it's an hour class. And probably a lot of people might not know what jiu-jitsu is, but it's a grappling sport. So it's very intense. It's one-on-one kind of combat. So I do an hour class jiu-jitsu, and then I probably do an hour of body weight training in the evening. On the Tuesday, I go for a 5K run. Wednesday, back to jiu-jitsu at 7 a.m. Probably do 45 minutes to an hour of mobility work in the evening.
In the gym or at home?
At home. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of my training, well, obviously jiu-jitsu is in a gym academy. A lot of my kind of bodyweight training I do at home, or I go to Brixton Street Gym.
So that's Wednesday, then Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday would probably be an an hour or so of calisthenics, and then Friday jiu-jitsu again in the morning, and then Friday evening probably doing something social for myself. So, and then I train weekends as well, so similar kind of thing. Also, I have a bit more time at the weekend, so I can take a bit longer with my training. But as an extreme example, last week or the week before, on a Friday, I done jiu-jitsu in the morning. I ran 5K at lunchtime, and then I went with my friend to do a class at Fitness First in Brixton. So,
why? Because you have a day job, right? Just to point out, you have like a serious day job. Do you want to tell everybody what your day job is?
Yeah, it's not very exciting, but I'm a corporate tax advisor. So,
so like you have like a full-on bloody day job, and then I was like, wow, amazing. Thank you. You know, there is nothing actually like listening to somebody say, this is how I live. There just isn't anything like that, because it's very inspiring to say, this is how I live, and I live like this every day, and this is what it looks like. So thank you very much for making the time.
No problem.
And I'm going to share all your social media handles and everything else, so people can follow you, they can look at your stuff and enjoy and admire you all the way through lifting and jumping and all that crap that you do so bloody well. Thank you very much.
No problem at all, Geeta. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.